Hey, everybody, thanks for checking in. This is Mr. Hoig with the Inspiration of the Day. Today, on this beautiful June 5th, my guest speaker is Gary Richardson. He has had many hats in his educational career: teacher, coach, administrator, superintendent, professor. He was the superintendent who hired me here at West Sioux. For 2 years, he was a shared superintendent here at West Sioux and did some great things and had some great relationships. And I reached out to him and asked him if he would make a video. And I'm really happy that he was able to make a video because it is a great one. You might want to take some notes. He's got some great points. And I just really appreciate him taking the time. So thank you, Mr. Richardson, for this. This is a great little video on the inspiration of the day.
Wow, what a privilege it is to be with you today. And I certainly thank Mr. Hoig for inviting me to share a few words today. I remember my time at West Sioux very fondly for 2 years as a shared superintendent. Just the people and relationships stick with me today. And as I've looked back over the years and recently, some of the successes that all of you have had at West Sioux, I sit here in Alton, Iowa, and I'm just really proud to have been a part of it, and more proud of the people that I have seen that have led. And I want to say that maybe the best thing I did was the first hire that I made at West Sioux, and it wasn't just me; it was our team, and it was Mr. Hoig. So. I think that you've all seen what Jerome has done, and it's just a privilege to be able to speak today. And this is what's on my mind. What's on my mind is you. And I want to start with something from Dr. Seuss, just because I love Dr. Seuss stuff, and I think I'm really smart when I read all those little quotes. So here it is. Today you are you. That is truer than true. There was no one alive who is youer than you. Shout aloud, I am glad to be what I am. Thank goodness I'm not a ham or a clam or a dusty old jar of gooseberry jam. I am what I am. What a great thing to be. If I say so myself, every day to me. You know, I want to talk about three things is that are important to me. And that's to let you know that you matter, you are enough, and that you are the connector. And let me start with by saying that these things are all stolen. Any good coach, of which I have been through the years, that says that they've anything that they brought up is on their own is probably a liar. We all steal from each other, and so in these three concepts that I want to share to begin with, just the concept of you matter. My friend Angela Meyer is a proponent of this, and I'm fortunate enough to be able to do a podcast series for Northwestern College, and she was on. And so she would say this, and I would like to repeat this because it's really so important, is that each and every one of you were born to make an impact. You are made for significance, and the world needs your contribution. And that's easy to say, so how do you do that? How do you actually matter? When I would just want to talk to you, what can I give you that you can take and work as a teacher or as a student, as an athlete, as a leader? What can I do to help you? And so encouraging you that you matter. And how do you matter? And from Governor Branstad back a few years ago when I had the privilege of speaking with him, you know, he said the characteristic that we all need to have is to show up every day on time with a great attitude. And you know what? No one controls those two things but you. No one can take those from you. No one can change them. You control that. And if you do those two things, you know, in my opinion, you're going to contribute. You are going to be significant, and you will have an impact just by doing those two things. Secondly, you are enough. You know, sometimes we'll say as individuals that I'm just on the second team, or I'm just the manager, or I'm only an assistant coach. I'm only the laundry person. I'm just. When we say this, we devalue what we have done. we give the person that we're talking to a license to do the same thing. These things come from my friend, Dr. Joe Sanfilippo, who I spoke with yesterday. And he is so true. People won't change the way that we think about us until we change the way we think about us. You are enough to make a difference. We're so much more than I'm only and I'm just. To do these things, to show that you are enough, it's an everyday grind. It's going in, doing the little things, doing the dirty work, doing the things that you don't want to do. But if we connect that to showing up on time every day with a great attitude, you become more than I'm only or I'm just. Lastly, you are the connector. I've been really blessed to have been part of the women's basketball program here at Northwestern College for the last, it's going on 5 years. And blessed to have worked and coached underneath Coach Yaw, who I coached in high school. So the relationship is really special. And what I've learned from Coach is a number of things. But the biggest thing is we have to connect. There has to be connections. As many people get to a certain level, or teams or organizations rise to the top, they only do that because they have great connections. And what are connections? Connections have to be emotional, they have to be physical, and they have to be done consistently, meaning that if I were to give you two things on connections, is your handshake strong? That's personal, it's physical. Are you looking in people's eyes? Do people know you really care about them? And so to do that, there's two questions that I'd like to share with you. And that is, if you really want to connect, you would ask these two things to the individual. How are you doing? What do you need? How are you doing? And what do you need? Because if someone knows you really care, there's not anything that we can't do, right? We together are much stronger than we are alone. And one of the things that we can do as leaders is, how do we invest in people to help them be the best that they can be? You do that with connections. And so to connect is investing, and that takes time, right? That takes a lot of energy, but more importantly, you're developing relationships that are strong. By connecting, you are developing relationships that take you through the good times and the bad times, but more importantly, will last a lifetime. Like the connections that I've had with Mr. Hoig and Wes Sue and numerous people through the years. I'm just really appreciative of that. So in the end, as I close, thank you so much for allowing me to speak to you today and ramble on a little bit. But I want to leave you with the three things. If you, in your heart, believe that you matter, you believe you are enough, and believe that you connect, you'll go a very long way. Thanks for having me.